Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 20-Sided Adventures. On this episode, we're going to talk about Paizo's two big announcements this week. The first is their upcoming expansions into their Tian Xia region and the adventure path coming with it. And the other is what they feel about AI works on their products and their stance on artificial intelligence tools. So with that, let's get right into it. Okay, let's just get started on the new content. So some Pathfinder 1 folks are going to be excited to see some Sarans and Wyangs come back. These were both races in Pathfinder 1 that you can now have as heritages that will give some more dynamic gameplay and allow people to create characters from this region of Golarion. We also have an entirely new heritage, the Tanuki, which should be pretty wild as they're mischievous shapeshifters by nature, so that should be a lot of fun. As a homebrew world exclusive player, these kind of expansions aren't maybe as exciting for me. I'm always interested to see classes and more mechanical features rather than the lore base. But for those of you that play in Golarion, this should be really cool to expand regions of the world that you can play in. And Golarion is a fantastic game setting. Paizo has always done a fantastic job with that. Something I would like to see, but didn't see any mention of in their announcement. So some classes come over from Pathfinder 1. I would love to see the ninja reappear, as I thought it was a fantastic class that took ideas of the rogue, but had a lot of its own unique traits with the ninja tricks. I thought that would be a really fun class to see expanded out into Pathfinder's 2nd edition. And then I would love to see the samurai make an appearance, because the samurai was a terrible cavalier, I felt, in Pathfinder 1. There was really little reason to take the actual class. If you wanted to be more Eastern themed or flavored, you could just get Eastern equipment and play a fighter or even an original cavalier, and I think have better functionality than the samurai. So seeing a samurai archetype the way we see the cavalier archetype with some very thematic play and some unique class abilities, I think would have been really cool. I hope those are in there, maybe just not mentioned, but very distant hope, as I suspect new classes would get a lot of hype in an announcement. We also have a new adventure path for those of you that like to run those. That will be taking place over a year, basically. Each season is a different chapter of the story. I love that thematic kind of storytelling. And maybe someone like Nonat can play a game where his character gets to, exist for more than 30 days. Sorry, Nonat, just had to take a little poke at you after all your crafting videos and how you have no downtime. It's just very, very shocking to me, as all of my games have tons and tons of downtime, because I really enjoy when my players get that little bit of slice of life, along with sometimes it just feels like stories take a long time to travel and percolate in the world. So really cool to see an adventure path that's really embracing that. So that's the real positive stuff coming out of Paizo, I think. Let's get into something a little more controversial now, their new stance on AI. Okay, I'm going to basically read you guys the announcement and then kind of give you my feedback and thoughts on it. Over the last few months, the world has seen a huge upsurge in interest, use, and quality of algorithm-generated imagery and text. Since we launched the company in 2002, Paizo has made a reputation with the assistance of countless traditional artists and writers, who are just as integral to the success of our games as our in-house editors, art directors, designers, and developers. The ethical and legal issues around AI art and writing prompt programs, and the serious threat they pose to the livelihoods of partners who have helped us get where we are today as a company, demand that we take a firm position against the use of this technology in Paizo products. In the coming days, Paizo will add new language to its creative contracts that stipulate that all work submitted to us for publication be created by a human. We will further add guidance to our Pathfinder and Starfinder Infinite Programs FAQs, clarifying that AI-generated content is not permitted on either community content marketplace. Our customers expect a human touch to our releases, and so long as the ethical and legal circumstances surrounding those programs remain murky and undefined, we are unwilling to associate our brand with the technology in any way. Stated plainly, when you buy a Paizo product, you can be sure that the work of a human professional who have spent years honing their craft to produce the best work we can. Paizo will not use AI-generated creative work of any kind for the foreseeable future. We thank the human artists and writers who have been so integral to our success in the past, and we look forward to working with them for many years to come. Okay, so I think this makes a lot of sense. AI art, especially with none of the images being able to be copyrighted, why on earth would a publishing company want to create a bunch of images, put it in their publications that they have no control or rights over? It makes absolute sense on the most barest legal minimums. On the moral side of things, there's a lot of questions about, was it ethically sourced? Are people being stolen from? Why on earth would you want to associate your brand with any of that controversy or the number of lawsuits that are being put out there against some of these AR generating companies? Um, Total complete sense for Paizo to take this stance, and any company probably should follow suit that is going to be safeguarding their IP. The AI generated text, I think, is a little murkier, as that's harder to first of all tell, and I think it's going to be um, a much more integral part to the creative process faster than the image portion is. Someone pointed out very very well that in the responses, the purpose of a lot of these AI tools aren't to bring base functionality to the masses to do these things, but to be a tool for those who have already mastered these processes to be more efficient and more effective. And I think that's where things like ChatGPT are already much closer than, say, Stable Diffusion. The ability to have ChatGPT learn your own writing, write in your voice, and be able to carry on almost conversational like queries based on your creative writing really does allow for an almost two-way process to generate ideas and let creativity flow. Um, so I think that might be problematic for this stance, but again, given the early stages of AI, I think this is all very reasonable from Paizo, and they've positioned it in such a way that for now they can gain the acclaim and the notoriety that they're getting from one of the first companies out the gate in this creative space to make a stand against it and get a lot of that goodwill. And as it evolves and changes, they've left enough room to be able to wisely reapproach this subject and alter their stance as the landscape changes. So between the orc license and this, Paizo continues to just get home runs in the park here amongst communities and showing where they stand and actually standing for something. While I'm a big proponent of AI, I respect Paizo's stance on this, and it makes sense from a business standpoint as well. An interesting thought: will this carry over into the orc license in any capacity? If you're creating open tabletop content, are they going to try to put some of this AI restrictions in there for other people that are using similar content? That'll be interesting to see once we get a final copy of the orc license. So another one that occurred to me: what about things like Dungeon Alchemist? Dungeon Alchemist uses AI to procedurally generate battle maps. Will tools like Dungeon Alchemist be restricted from folks who are making battle maps, maybe for some of their tools? Um, Certainly, there doesn't seem to be any of the stolen work controversy in this tool, so I'm kind of wondering where it'll also stack up, because that's another one I'm a really big fan of. So, really looking forward to reading the full licensing if they make it available in their FAQs. All right, folks. Well, that's my thoughts on all of these topics. I hope we get some new classes or archetypes out of the book, even though they're not mentioned. I'm excited for those of you that adventure in Golarion that you're going to be able to have more breadth of characters and regions to play from. Completely understand Paizo's business standpoint and taking a firm stand while things are murky. I think that's fantastic. And we'll get back to some more content videos next week. I think I'm going to dip into some Pathfinder 1 to Pathfinder 2 transitions and what folks find different, and might be able to help people that are still hanging on to the old ways like I have been for so long, that make that transition over a little easier. And it might even help those of you new to Pathfinder from other gaming systems. So with that, I look forward to seeing you guys on our next 20-sided adventure.